As parents, we know the drill. Teachers have set aside time. We've rearranged our schedules. Now it's time to sit down and chat because it's parent-teacher conferences. And this is a chance for you to better understand how your kids are doing in school.
So what do you ask the teacher? And how do you know if something is normal and a part of learning and what's a sure sign of trouble? Kevin Pasqua is the executive director of LearningRx, a place where they do cognitive skills training and assessments as well. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Great to be here.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
This is, I think, a time where it's very important to talk about learning because, as Molly mentioned, it's that parent-teacher time. And I'm sure you hear a lot of feedback and input around this time from parents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in schools, and it, you know, it is that critical time of year where parents are looking for feedback, and you're kind of looking to finish the year strong. And one of the most frustrating things for both parents and teachers is, as you look at a child, is identifying is distinguishing a behavioral issue from something that could be, you know, much deeper. And, you know, at LearningRx, the way we look at things, there's certain things that are red flags that can be an indicator that there's a cognitive skills weakness. And just, you know, cognitive skills are those skills that we use to think, learn, and mentally perform and help us be successful in the classroom. And if they're weak, then the classroom can be a pretty difficult environment for a kid. And, you know, and so that's really what we're trying to help people understand is how do you see those?
So as parents go to these conferences, what are some of the things specifically that we should be listening for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so there's a couple of key things is you'll hear things like, I know he's smart, but he doesn't apply himself.
Right.
Well, you know, what's that mean? Another one is, I know he's smart, but he makes simple mistakes. And so let's use that one as an example. Well, simple mistakes can come from a weakness in both short-term memory as well as processing speed. And so it will cause me to work fast and skip over things. Well, so it's not, you know, it's not necessarily behavioral. Or another one I think that's really frustrating for parents is, I know he's smart, but he doesn't apply himself. Well, did I just hear that my kid's lazy? I'm not sure.
Right.
You know, and here's an example. We just finished with a student, was with us for 16 weeks, and when I first talked to the mom, here was a kid that was very frustrated. He would literally shut down and throw tantrums in the classroom. Well, okay, look at it from a teacher's point of view. It looks like a behavior. Look at it from a parent's point of view. Looks like a behavior, but what do I do about it? Well, we were able to work with them. We identified that he had a weakness in several skills, and after just a month of working with us, he actually started participating in the classroom. The frustration went away. I just did a meeting with her last week, and he went from being sent to the principal's office 19 times in the first semester to once in the last 3 months. So, I mean, but again, it was our ability to get at that root cause.
And you know when they're that young, that's when the labels start. And if they start hearing that they're not good or they're not doing well, a lot of times they start behaving in line with that. So another thing that you've heard is, you know, if somebody's below grade level in reading, or what's confusing is if the reader struggles with comprehension. And that's something that, how do you work with that if a reader is struggling with comprehension? Yeah,
that's a real sticky area for both, I think, again, for both parents and teachers, because, you know, there's two parts to reading. There's the fluency and fluidity, which is the phonemic awareness, and then there's comprehension. Well, comprehension can actually be affected by several different things. If you have a weakness in short-term or long-term memory, or visual processing, and visual processing, as I describe it, as that's the movie that your mind makes when you read something. Well, if you don't do that very well, you're not going to like to read, and therefore things won't remain sticky, and you really will have a difficult time comprehending. And so the issue is to identify that, and then what we can do is one-on-one training to build those skills up and then that affect that comprehension.
And reading is a big one that affects other areas of learning. What if people hear things, and I think this is common, that their child has trouble finishing schoolwork, trouble following directions, or answering questions?
Yeah, that's a real common one as well, is you kind of look at it, or you'll see they just don't finish the test. Right? They just don't get all the way through the test. Well, that's an indication of processing speed, that I'm just working a little bit slower. Again, I'm a bright kid, but I just take more time than others. Another real common one that we get is, you know, when it comes to taking a test, they're real anxious. Well, that's an indication of it could be long-term memory again with processing speed. And you know, as a child, you're not going, oh, I have weak long-term memory and processing speed. As a child, you're going, oh man, I don't know if I can remember everything I studied, and I'm nervous because my experience is I don't have enough time. And so, you know, again, it shows up as a behavior when in reality it could be in a deeper root cause where you get at those cognitive skills. And if those cognitive skills are weak, that's how it manifests itself in the classroom.
What about for people who really focus on math and reading? Are there other issues that they should be aware of?
Well, certainly. I mean, math and reading are the ones that as parents, I know, you know, I have 3 kids, so it's the one I'm always asking about, right? You know, but you should look for other things. Attention issues. You know, do you hear about they don't really pay attention in the classroom as well? Or you'll get into distraction. Again, it's they make simple mistakes. You know, we talked about that a little bit.
Or even a hesitation to read out loud.
Yeah.
A hesitation to read out loud,
A lot of kids have, or they have poor organization skills. They talk about their organization of their test or materials. Those are things that, again, look like behavioral issues. But what I think is amazing is this test that you do in a relatively short amount of time. Right now, you're offering Morning Blend viewers a discount for just $100.
That's right.
To have the information, because I had one of my kids tested because I was concerned.
We did indeed.
And then met with you one-on-one, and that's the experience that everyone has. And I thought it was unbelievable, all these different areas that you could identify as strengths or possible weaknesses in just that one-on-one testing that you do right there in your office, and you can get to some of these learning problems or issues or weaknesses to help what sometimes looks like a behavior problem.
Right. Right, and that's the real key, is to really take that step to identify what the root cause is. And we'll tell you straight up, is it a weakness in a cognitive skill, or is it something else that you should look into? And so it's a very important step.
Absolutely.
Too.
And going in and meeting with you is an important step as well. And that discount that Molly mentioned from LearningRx right now, if you mention the Morning Blend, you'll get that cognitive skills assessment for just $100 off. It's normally $249, so you'll get $100 off of that. And you can call them to make an appointment at 262-395-2250. I'm going to read it again so you can write it down since it's a little bit small there. It's 262-395-2250. 2250, and you can always rewatch this segment on themorningblend.com again to make your appointment. Thanks so much for being here, Kevin.
It's great being here.
Love what you do.
We're here to help.
Yeah, you do incredible work. We've both visited and been impressed with the work you do.
I've done your brain games.
Yeah.
I need some help.
Working up a mental sweat.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.